What's going on, guys? No Job Rob here. Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while. I feel like my hair is twice as long since the last time I recorded. I got more of the Keanu Reeves, John Wick look going on than ever before. But I just want to share something with you guys that I've been learning about lately, which is the nature of exercise as it relates to the brain. So this video is for anyone like myself who does not enjoy exercising, or anyone who's just trying to obtain peak performance. Maybe you're trying to execute in operating your own business. It's something that's not talked about enough that will give you some new perspective that you can benefit from in the long term. So I want to begin by talking to you guys about an animal called the sea squirt. It's a cousin of the jellyfish. While the average human brain contains approximately 100 billion neurons, or in other words, the cellular population of the brain brain of the sea squirt contains only 300. And the reason for that is because the sea squirt only requires the mental capacity to float over to a nearby piece of coral onto which it will latch and remain for the rest of its life. And at that point, when it's found where it's going to reside, it actually eats its own brain. So what does this example tell us about the way that evolution views the utility of the brain? From a biological perspective, the need for a brain comes from a creature's necessity for movement. So this applies to a human being where the less movement that a person engages in, the less necessity that the body sees for the brain, and therefore the less need for producing more brain cells. So something that I think not enough people are aware of is that you can actually produce new brain cells through a process called neurogenesis. Because we were all raised on the thinking that once you've damaged your brain and killed those brain cells, you can never get them back. It's typically what you would hear in the context of drugs or alcohol. They would tell you that to frighten you. You know, if you damage your brain with these substances, then you can never get it back. But contemporary neuroscience has demonstrated that that is just simply not the case. Specifically, what occurs when you exercise is your brain produces a compound called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, and you can think of that essentially as Miracle-Gro for your brain. So I want to use a very profound example of this to illustrate the importance of it. By the way, the information I'm sharing in this video is from a book called Spark. I'll link it right below the video. It was written in about 2008, so there have been advancements in this field even since the book came out, but at the beginning of the book he starts by talking about a specific district in Naperville, Illinois, and while the average United States school district places between 18th and 19th in international standardized math and science scoring, this particular district placed first overall in science and 6th in the world in math. So the author of the book was fascinated by this, and he had to actually go out to Naperville and find out what they were doing. And the only appreciable difference that he found was that the school had mandated first thing in the morning physical education class of elevated heart rate exercise for at least 45 minutes to an hour. So the correlation was, unlike most phys ed programs where it's either team sports, where a large portion of the time you're not actually participating, you're waiting for your turn, or you're waiting for the play to come to you, or in my experience, actually doing anything at all was optional, maybe even just lightly walk around a track. They were having the students run a mile and grading them not on how fast they were able to do it, because obviously everyone is in a different place in terms of their fitness, but they were grading their effort. In other words, what percentage of their maximum heart rate were they maintaining? So all the students could get the benefit of the exercise without getting discouraged. So what was happening was the students were activating the BDNF, and they were producing new neurons, and then they were associating those neurons with whatever they were learning in the classes after phys ed. So they had so many more neural connections primed to enforce their learning. So again, I thought this was some really interesting perspective. I mean, we all know exercise is important, but we don't exactly know how or why and how it relates to our brain health. But I would go so far as to say that, many of you, if you're watching this channel, you may be an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, you will not succeed without some level of consistent physical activity. So there's so much more to talk about on the subject, so let me know if you want me to do more videos like this, or you can check out the book. I'll put the link below the video. But aside from that, guys, I'll have more tutorials and reviews coming up. Definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of that. I'll talk to you very soon. This has been No Job Rob, and have a great day, everybody.